Hello, and welcome back to Just Livin'. Today, we're at the Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson, Arizona. The last time we were here, we looked at what I think was the coolest and best-looking plane of World War II, the B-17 Flying Fortress. Today, we're going to see what may be the best-looking aircraft of all time. In fact, Jeremy Clarkson of Top Gear fame once called this plane the best-looking machine ever built by man, the SR-71. So join us as we learn more about this hero of the Cold War, the SR-71 Blackbird. Although it looks like it belongs in a sci-fi movie, the SR-71 Blackbird was very real. After a U-2 spy plane was shot down in 1960 over the Soviet Union, the US needed something fast and virtually untouchable. Enter Lockheed's Skunkworks, led by engineering legend Clarence Kelly Johnson. And what an aircraft he came up with. The SR-71 could fly at Mach 3.3. That's over 2,200 miles per hour. Fast enough to outrun the missiles designed to shoot it down. But this incredible speed came with its own set of problems. First of all, an aluminum aircraft would melt from the high temperatures caused by air friction at Mach 3+. The solution? Titanium. In fact, over 90% of the plane was made from it. The only problem was the US didn't produce titanium. So the CIA had to set up an elaborate chain of dummy corporations to buy the material from the Soviet Union. The Cold War at its finest. This led to problem number 2. The titanium needed to expand at high speeds, so it was purposely built with fuel tanks that would leak on the runway. At cruising speed, the titanium would expand, sealing the leaks mid-flight. Problem number 3, the tires. Flying at over Mach 3 would melt ordinary rubber tires. So B.F. Goodrich invented these tires, impregnated with powdered aluminum. They were inflated with nitrogen to about 415 pounds of pressure. Each tire costs over $25,000 in today's money and would last for 15 landings. Problem number 4, starting the powerful engines. Flying at over 2,000 miles per hour takes special engines. They were designed to operate on afterburners for extended periods, glowing red hot in the process. To cope with this extreme heat, the SR-71 used a special JP-7 jet fuel that was extremely heat resistant and hard to ignite, making it hard to start. To solve this, the SR-71 engineers came up with this engine start cart. It contains 2 Corvette-inspired LS7 454 cubic inch engines that produce 465 horsepower each. Both SR-71 engines required their own cart. The start cart's job was to mechanically spin the aircraft's turbines up to a minimum of 3,200 RPM before the engines could be ignited and run on their own. Here's what that procedure sounded like. Because it was a strategic reconnaissance aircraft, the SR-71 needed a special photographic system Developed by Goodyear Aerospace and named the Goodyear Electronic Mapping System, or GEMS for short, the unit shown here is the ground-based processing unit, which takes the information gathered by the SR-71 and turns it into a printable image. Because the pictures were taken at 80,000 feet, objects on the ground needed to be at least 33 feet in size to be readily identified. Speaking of 80,000 feet, at this high elevation, the pilots needed to wear full pressurized spacesuits to provide enough oxygen for them to breathe. The cockpit also required a heavy-duty cooling system, as it could heat up to 250 degrees when flying at supersonic speeds. In case you're wondering, this same cooling system also cooled the front landing gear bay. That's why it didn't need the special aluminum impregnated tires used by the main landing gear. Bonus points for you if you noticed that earlier. Sharp-eyed viewers may have noticed something else interesting. This small craft next to the SR-71 that is actually a drone, named the D-21 reconnaissance drone. It mounted to the back of the SR-71 to be launched at the very high speeds its ramjet engine needed to operate. It could fly at over 2,500 miles per hour at an elevation of 90,000 feet. After an accident where the D-21 crashed into the launch plane, killing one of the pilots, the project was canceled. It could fly itself along a pre-programmed route, taking high-resolution photos deep inside enemy territory, after which it would eject the camera for retrieval before self-destructing. Pretty amazing stuff. I never knew we had drones back in the 1960s. Although it set numerous aviation records for an air-breathing manned aircraft, the SR-71 program was canceled in 1998. These records include highest altitude at 85,069 feet, fastest absolute speed of 2,193.2 miles per hour, and a record for the fastest flight from New York to London in just under 1 hour 55 minutes. By way of comparison, the Concorde took 2 hours 52 minutes, while the Boeing 747 needed 6 hours and 15 minutes. One can only imagine what secret plane has replaced it. 30 years ago, I read about a secret triangular-shaped aircraft codenamed Aurora that supposedly replaced the SR-71. It reportedly could travel at Mach 5+. If true, it's probably the craft responsible for the rash of UFO sightings around the world. All near US military bases too. What a coincidence. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look at the amazing SR-71 Blackbird and learned something new. Designed in the depths of the Cold War, it still holds a special place in the hearts of aviation lovers the world over. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for even more adventures. You can also support us at www.buymeacoffee.com/justlivin'. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you again on Just Livin'.